Hello, this is my channel, The King of Stoics. Have you ever experienced the exhilaration of a concealed longing, a potent allure that permeated every glance, every hushed utterance, and even the slightest physical contact? Imagine finding yourself drawn to someone who isn't your partner. It's a thrilling yet illegal experience. In today's video, we look into the subtle signs that show a hidden attraction. They gaze at each other with longing, remain silent, and exchange fleeting touches that convey more than mere words. Continue watching until the end to uncover these powerful yet subtle signs and understand the delicate balance between desire and restraint. This insight could change the way you think about attraction forever. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button and set your alarm. Click the bell to stay updated on all of our new videos. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you like the video, please leave a comment. If not, please leave a 0. Your feedback is essential to me because it helps me make better videos that are more relevant to your interests. Let's first discuss the fear of discovery. As the saying goes, the allure of the forbidden can feel like a flame that is too hot to touch but impossible to resist. Imagine a devoted wife who feels an electric thrill every time she's near a man who isn't her husband. Not just any man, but her husband, Herb's close friend. This was a maze of feelings my friend Marta got caught up in, and she still remembers those times with a bittersweet smile that's mixed with sorrow and longing. Marta had established a stable and predictable relationship for years. However, she sensed a gap in her marriage that she couldn't quite identify. Her husband's friend Andre seemed to be everything she had been missing. He was charming, confident, and flirtatious, exuding a carefree energy that piqued Marta's interest. Quickening, it was an allure she hadn't felt in years, a reminder of parts of herself she thought had long since vanished. He wasn't just attentive, he was dangerously perceptive, the kind of man who could read emotions buried deep and bring them to the surface without saying a word. It all started innocently, as these things often do. Harmless laughter at gatherings, fleeting eye contact that lasted a beat too long, whispered jokes told in the kitchen while her husband was away, and Dry didn't miss a beat. His eyes held hers for a moment too long, his compliments a shade too personal. At first, Marta tried to dismiss it, persuading herself that it was just friendly banter. However, there was an undeniable moment when a sharp and intense spark ignited between them. Searing, her heart skipped, and a pit of dread twisted in her stomach as she realized she was stepping onto dangerously thin ice that night as Mara lay in bed, staring at the ceiling while her husband slept soundly beside her. She was consumed by a chaotic blend of desire and terror. Her mind replayed every subtle exchange, every accidental touch, her thoughts tangling between excitement and guilt. She felt a desperate urge to pull away to protect the life she had built and the man who loved her without condition. But the more she tried to distance herself from Andre, the more he occupied her thoughts, haunting her quiet moments. With an ache she couldn't shake, it was a magnetic pull, irrational yet undeniable. Marta confessed to me, with a voice heavy with regret, the first time I felt that spark. I told myself, this can't happen. I have to stop. But desire doesn't listen to reason. It's relentless, unforgiving, creeping in, even when you try your hardest to shut it out. And so she found herself living in a constant state of tension, wanting to be near him, yet awake, terrified of the possibility. She was no longer just afraid, she was paralyzed by the fear of discovery, of everything unraveling for a committed woman to feel this way. Especially for someone so untouchable, the instinct is almost always to withdraw, not because the attraction isn't there, but because the risk feels as vast and consuming as the desire itself. That fear, the raw, agonizing fear of being caught, became her invisible chain, a weight pulling her back into reality every time she dared to let her heart wander. Yet the forbidden flame of Andre's presence continued to flicker at the edges of her mind, a lingering reminder of the thrilling chaos she had narrowly escaped, or perhaps only postponed. 2. The gaze that breaks barriers says that the eyes are the windows to the soul and can reveal even the most hidden wishes. If you've ever felt someone's heavy gaze on you, that look that makes the air feel charged, you know what I mean. I assure you that when a committed woman experiences a spark of attraction for someone who isn't her partner, it's during those fleeting moments of eye contact that her true feelings emerge, even if she's attempted to suppress them for years. I saw this happen in the quiet hum of an office. My co-worker, Javier, appeared unaware of the subtle signs of attraction, but Rio began to perceive him differently. Her eyes were filled with something she couldn't quite hide. Every time he spoke, her gaze softened, lingered, and then quickly turned away, as if she was trying to avoid a vulnerability she couldn't control. It was like watching a magnetic pull of vulnerability that defied her reason, a forceful yet tender vulnerability she didn't want to reveal, but also couldn't fully hide either. As I watched their interactions unfold, the silent language of her gaze became as clear to me as day. Her eyes spoke of unspoken emotions and repressed feelings in a way that Javier couldn't even begin to understand, let alone notice. To him, it was just Rocio being a friendly co-worker, but to those who saw, it was clear that her gaze held something much more powerful, a longing and a gentle hesitance. Some psychologists say that long-term eye contact can cause a deep emotional response in the brain, creating an intimacy that words often fail to capture. It's an electric connection where two souls meet without touching, where a look speaks louder than any words ever could for a committed woman struggling with feelings for another person. That lingering gaze. As it is, every time her eyes linger just a second too long, it's a battle between her mind's desperate attempt to stay in control and her heart's whispered longing. If you ever notice that a woman's gaze lingers, her eyes soften, and her expression holds a momentary vulnerability, take note that her gaze holds a world of emotion, a hidden story of desire, hesitation, and maybe even guilt. She might be fighting it by hiding her emotions behind a polite smile or a quick glance away, but when her gaze breaks through her carefully constructed facade, know that you're seeing something real and unfiltered. It's her heart speaking through her eyes, revealing truths. She doesn't dare say 3. There is a game of unsaid words, and those words carry a deep meaning. There is a quiet seduction in the things we dance around, rather than saying. When a woman is in a committed relationship, the risks of telling her partner she likes someone else are too high, so she learns how to speak in code. She carefully chooses every word she says and every glance she gives to hint at what's underneath without crossing any lines. Everyday conversations encapsulate a game of hints and subtexts, with the true meaning concealed beneath the surface, awaiting discovery by an attentive listener. Imagine a woman who can't say what she's really feeling and hides her longing in casual comments and playful banter. She might talk about the weather, her latest work project, or even something unimportant, but there's a warmth in her tone and a softness in her gaze that tells you there's more. It's in these small conversations that she sends out her quiet signals, hoping that you'll pick up on the hidden invitation. She's like an artist who paints in shadows, making something beautiful and complex without ever using bright colors. Every joke, every statement that seems harmless, every small smile is a brushstroke that adds a secret message to the picture for you to figure out. I worked with a woman who was in a long-term relationship but was deeply interested in someone else. She exercised great discretion in her speech, refraining from any overtly romantic or flirtatious remarks. Instead, she'd make small, playful comments that made their conversations more interesting, or she'd ask his opinion on something unimportant, making him feel noticed and valued in a way that seemed harmless to others. But to those who knew her, it was clear that there was a spark beneath those words, a curiosity. She was exploring one subtle conversation at a time, leaving a trail of clues. Not much is clear, only little things are. This is what psychologists call tiny hints that felt important if you knew what to look for. Selective memory is the mental tendency to remember certain details about someone we're interested in. Our interest in someone compels us to preserve even the smallest details, treating each word as a precious gem. We store them in a secret place in our minds so we can remember them later. For a committed woman grappling with forbidden emotions, it's akin to an unspoken connection between two individuals who comprehend each other's concealed language. Picky remembering isn't just an emotional thing. As a covert means of preserving her desire and attraction, she engages in actions that shield them from the external world. If you are still watching this video and finding it useful, please leave a comment below, letting me know that you are still watching it with me. So the next time she talks about something that doesn't seem important, like a story about her morning drive or a random thought about her favorite movie, pay close attention. See if she lingers on certain words, or if her eyes meet yours for a little too long, before they move away. Every laugh and smile between you two is the beginning of a much deeper story. Each brief physical contact strengthens the connection that remains unsaid. Words that stay within the boundaries create a rich tapestry. When you remember those details, and her words ring in your head long after she's gone, you've joined her world of hidden messages. She doesn't have to say she's thinking of you. She can just remember a time you two shared, laugh at their own joke. You and I are the only ones who know. That's her way of letting you know that she's building a bridge between her guarded heart and yours in those quiet times, daring you to read the signs that lie beneath her everyday words. If you pay attention, you'll notice that her casual and playful comments aren't meaningless. Each one is a whisper, an invitation to look deeper and see the depth she's carefully concealing. The game of unspoken words is basically a love letter in pieces, waiting for you to put them together. It's a delicate thrill, a shared secret that neither of you dares to admit openly, yet it still binds you, creating an invisible yet intimate connection. Go into the world of details. Small gestures and seemingly unimportant details, which may not seem important at first glance, often carry a lot more weight than they appear. For example, imagine you're in a meeting with a lot of people talking, or you could be sitting across from her in a busy cafe, and all of a sudden she brings up something you said weeks ago. It could have been a random comment. She brings back to life an observation or random fact about your tastes that you had forgotten about for a long time, as if it had some kind of quiet significance. Why would she remember something tiny that you had forgotten about almost as soon as you said it? When a person holds significant importance to us, even the most minor details create profound memories that our minds persistently hold on to. This kind of selective memory has a name in psychology. I unnecessarily gave priority to details about people, finding myself drawn to the preservation of even the most basic, seemingly insignificant aspects about them. She doesn't intentionally do this. It's simply the way her mind functions, treating every shared word, laughter, or glance as a treasure worthy of preservation. This focus on detail makes it simple to forget things, especially when they are very small. Ignoring small things is a subtle but telling sign that she's holding on to you in a deeper way, letting your presence seep into her thoughts even when she's not aware of it. When she brings these details up in conversation, she's showing you how interested she is in you, which is a powerful but quiet way to show that you hold a special place in her mind. A woman I knew harbored deep interest in a man, but she was unable to express her feelings to him. She told me with a soft smile and a bit of longing in her eyes that some of her favorite times with him weren't the big, obvious conversations, but the small, seemingly insignificant ones. It was the way he talked about his favorite music, the way he gestured with his hands when he was passionately explaining something, or the way he laughed. A laugh that was so uniquely his that she remembered the sound, the warmth, and the rhythm of it. She clung to these not-so-random bits of him, replaying them in her mind like precious jewels. Selective recall isn't just a mental quirk, it's also an intensely emotional one. Our brains naturally latch on to the things we care about, the small, seemingly unimportant moments that feel like they matter the most. Every shared word and glance, when a woman becomes attracted to someone, weaves a quiet thread into her memory. So if she casually mentions that coffee you ordered last month, or remembers the tiniest detail about something you said, it's her way of telling her subconscious that you've become important enough for her to remember even the smallest parts of who you are. In a quieter but no less meaningful way, she's telling you that you're important when she remembers things you'd almost forgotten. She chuckles at a joke you shared days or even weeks ago, or recalls your preference for an extra spoon of sugar in your tea. It's quiet, but strong. These aren't just passing memories. Their meaningful fragments of time spent with you is a declaration of care for her. She carefully stores these seemingly unrelated details to remind herself of what brings the two of you together, even when she can't say it out loud. They show her heart's true focus, even when she can't be physically close to you. Say how she feels, and maybe she's scared to cross any lines. These facts, these remembered moments, are her silent way of expressing her attention, her regard, her quiet affection. She is in a building, a private connection with you through memories, crafting a hidden language that only you and she understand, filled with moments that don't need to be spoken out loud to be felt. So the next time she brings up a small memory, a shared joke, or even a stray comment you'd let slip without a second thought, recognize it for what it is. Her attention to these small things is far from accidental. It's a tender reflection of the way she treasures every moment with you, no matter how small. In these remembered details, she's extending an invitation, drawing you closer into a world of subtle emotions and hidden affections. In the quiet resonance of those seemingly insignificant memories, you'll find her true feelings revealed as she shows you, without ever saying a word, just how much you mean to her. First, there is a physical touch. Now let's explore a signal that may appear almost imperceptible, yet could be the most powerful of all: subtle physical contact. I'm not talking about big hugs, bold moves, or even the occasional stolen kiss. I'm referring to the subtle, almost imperceptible touches that linger for a heartbeat, the inconspicuous natural grazes that one could almost overlook. Because when a committed woman feels physically attracted to someone who isn't her partner, her body sometimes becomes. There is a well-established link between physical touch and emotional response in psychology. The smallest touch can set off a chain of signals in the brain that make us feel a rush of emotions we may not even fully understand. If you notice her hand lingering just a bit longer than necessary, or her fingers lightly brushing against your arm as she passes, these are not accidental occurrences. Such subtle touches can say a lot. They're like whispered confessions of an attraction she might not be brave enough to declare out loud. Even though these touches may seem small, they have a weight that's difficult to ignore once you notice them. Imagine her reaching out to you in conversation and lightly brushing your hand against yours, as if she were trying to reach the limits without crossing them. In a crowded room, she might let her arm lightly touch yours, put her hand on your shoulder while you're laughing together. Every touch, regardless of its duration, conceals a hidden message. It's a moment that charges the air between you, and she's telling you something in that brief contact. She expresses her interest in a way that feels both exciting and secret, as if she's challenging you to delve deeper. These touches may not seem important to other people, but they have a charge, a warmth, and a sense of connection that feels very personal to you. A woman caught in the throes of attraction feels tied down, may not show obvious signs of love, but these small hidden touches are her way of gauging whether you share her feelings without having to express it explicitly. Maybe that's why they're so powerful. They're quiet, private, and close in a way that bigger gestures can never be. At the end of the day, when a committed woman sends these signals, those intense looks, jokes, and touches, she's expressing a desire she can't fully express. She's showing hints of a desire she can't fully express. Show her a desire she might never act on in this careful dance of unspoken words. Sharing looks and brief touches creates a connection that's exciting, but also tense. There's a tension that's just below the surface in this space where unspoken words meet unnoticed gestures. There's a depth that needs patience, respect, and understanding. It's a delicate balance. This brief breach of limits could cause her to feel both excited and guilty. Recognizing these actions requires handling these feelings with both thrill and honor. My name is Celia, and I want this space to be wise. I want it to be a place where we can talk about life's deeper feelings and relationships in a way that is open and respectful. Here, we go beyond the obvious and into the subtleties of life. We frequently experience emotions without expressing them. If you've made it this far, I deeply respect and appreciate your dedication to your own growth and self-awareness. Together, let's delve into these themes, understanding that each subtle signal and hidden gesture carries a wealth of meaning deserving of understanding and respect. Thank you for watching. I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you learned from today's video that you plan to use in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked this look at the unspoken nuances of attraction, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking videos. This is the beginning of your path to becoming more self-aware and understanding.